Hi, everybody. Welcome to our SOAR Time meetings. It's good to be meeting with you, 7th and 8th graders. We're going to talk about a few things tonight or today that have to do with habits and goals. So you are either wrapping up your 7th grade year, ready to go on to 8th grade, or you are wrapping up your 8th grade year, ready to. Wow, we could have like a bloopers reel here today with my SOAR meeting. Let me try that again. Or you are an 8th grader getting ready to enter high school. And so there are a few things that we need to talk about as we make that transition to our next grade. So 7th graders, some of you have done awesome this year, right? You moved up from 6th grade. You got right into the feel of things. You were doing your homework, you were turning it in, things like that. You weren't getting zapped, you weren't on the ineligibility list. And then some of you struggled a little bit maybe with that transition from 6th grade to 7th grade. And maybe you found yourself on the ineligibility list often. Maybe you found yourself being zapped because you weren't turning in your work. So for you guys, I want you to think today, what can I do differently as I wrap up my 7th grade year? But most importantly, what can I do as I start my 8th grade year so that I don't have to fall back into this whole habit and routine of not getting my stuff in. I mean, just like poor school habits, right? So that's what you guys are going to think of. And the other kids who didn't have those struggles, what can you keep doing as you go into 8th grade to make sure that you have a successful 8th grade year? 8th graders, some of you, same thing. You've had a really good 8th grade year, right? Maybe some of your grades dropped. You worked hard to get them back up. Some of you, maybe same thing with some of the 7th graders. You found yourself on the ineligibility list. You found yourself being zapped. You need to know that yes, 7th and 8th grade matter, and yes, they're very important, but you need to realize that next year you start to be credit earning, which means that the classes that you take and the credits that you earn get you closer to graduation, right? And so if you fail a class next year, you don't receive credit for it, and you don't get that credit that gets you closer to graduation, and some of those core classes you have to retake. So you're wasting your time, really, essentially. So as 7th graders, as 8th graders, part of our job is to start building good habits so that you carry them into high school, and then you carry them into whatever you're doing post-secondary, which post-secondary is a big word for after high school, whether it's college, a vocational school, getting a certificate, or going into the workforce immediately, whatever it may be, starting all the way back in kindergarten. That's what you're preparing for. And so 7th graders, as you move into 8th grade, your job is to build good habits so that you are ready for high school. 8th graders, your job is to build good habits so that when you are in 9th grade and 10th grade and 11th grade and 12th grade, you are taking those classes seriously and you are not wasting your time and you're earning those credits. I just talked to a man who's going to come in and visit with kids who are interested. He's in the electrician field. And what his company does is they take anybody who's interested out of high school and they work with them. They have like classes, like a class in the evening, and they pay for that. But they help these kids go right from high school if they're not interested in going to college and put them in the workforce, and then soon they can earn their journeyman certificate and things like that. Some of his guys now who have went this route are earning like $60 to $70 an hour. But one thing that he said to me that I found very interesting was he said these kids think they don't need classes like algebra and English and things like that. I hear that often, and he said, I just want them to know that if they're looking into going into one of the trades, construction, plumbing, electrician, any of those, they need algebra. Like he's like, I use that all the time. So be thinking about that. When I read those things where we don't need algebra, yeah, we do. We do need it. So those are just some things that I want you guys to know. Now I'm going to read a quote to you. If you have to set goals that are almost out of reach, I'm going to start again because I read it wrong. You have to set goals that are almost out of reach. If you set a goal that is attainable without much work or without much thought, then you are stuck with something below your true talent and your potential. You have to set goals that are almost out of reach. If you set goals that are attainable without much work or without much thought, you are stuck with something below your true talent and potential. I don't want you to be stuck under your true talent and potential. And when I look at the hallways into all of your faces, I see a lot of gifts and I see a lot of talents. They're different from each other, and that's okay because our world would be a pretty boring place if we all had the same gifts and talents. So today, you are going to take a piece of paper and you are going to write 3 goals that you have for finishing up this year and for beginning your next year. Goals that set you up to be successful in school, goals that are just a little bit out of your reach that you're going to have to work hard for, right? How can you be a successful 8th grader? How can you be a successful 9th grader? All right? So that's the first thing that you're going to do. And then you're going to share those goals with each other. All right? I hope you guys have a great afternoon.